Hello everyone and welcome back to the Belgian Beer Brothers channel. Cedric here with a brand new brew review, and since today is some sort of anniversary, namely the brew review number 300, I thought it'd be fitting to review a celebratory beer as well. And for a change, we're not celebrating the anniversary of a brewery, but the birthday of a world-renowned painter. Today we will be having the Duvel X Magritte in honor of René Magritte himself. I'd like to start off by introducing René Magritte because he was important in Belgian modern history and contemporary arts, but that doesn't necessarily mean the rest of the world knows who this man is. Now, René Magritte was born in Lessen, a small part of Schaarbeek near Brussels, in November of 1898, which would have made him 125 years old in 2023. I find this a missed opportunity there to make a Schaarbeekse creek for this occasion, but nonetheless. In 1912, Magritte's mother drowned by her own doing in the Sambre, the river, which traumatized the young René and made him rather sadistic, for example, violent towards animals and such. He attended the Brussels Academy from 1916 till 1921, and straight after that he married the 18-year-old Georgette Berger, who would be his muse for many works to come. Now, the couple was artistic in nature, but at first René took a job as a designer in a wallpaper factory, and Georgette was the main contributor in their marriage, working in an art supply store. In 1925, René started moving from Cubism to surrealism, with a lot of irony in his works, and next to the classic oil on canvas, he made collages and started incorporating everyday objects as well. The couple moved to Paris to live a bohemian life with other surrealistic artists, and this is where he painted his famous Ceci n'est pas une pipe artwork, for example. During the Second World War, the couple stayed in Carcassonne, where Magritte forged a lot of classic artworks to pay the bills, like Chirico's and Picasso's, before returning to their homestead in Brussels to become part of the Communist Party. Very fitting, since today is voting day. Back home, Magritte made more prestigious works like the famous wall paintings in Knokke's Casino in the 50s, and in 1960 he was the first painter to ever receive the Belgian State Award. He kept painting, think of Le Fils de l'Homme in 1964 with the bowler hat, until in 1967 he passed away of pancreatic cancer to be buried in Schaarbeek, and 20 years later Georgette rejoined him. As a tribute, Magritte was featured on the Belgian 500 francs banknotes for the rest of the century until the euro came to life in 1999. Now, where does this bottle come into play, you might ask? And the answer is probably much simpler than one might expect. During the Second World War and the short period leading up to that, many supplies were in high demand or no longer in production, resulting in a shortage. For example, canvas was pretty hard to come by. Therefore, painters had to get creative, and being the surrealist that he is, Magritte saw a lot of potential in glass bottles, like wine bottles. He found that the round shape created a cinematic feel with a sort of endlessness that appealed to him. So in the early 1940s he painted a series of around 25 glass bottles, and this ciel bouteille or sky bottle being one of the first in 1940. Since Duvel always incorporated design and artists in their products, it felt fitting to celebrate Magritte's 125th birthday in this manner. Now, this bottle looks like a modernized 3D version, but it is in fact a direct replica of the original. It features a beautiful custom bottle cap with a blue D floating among clouds, and it even came in a lovely matching box with a cloud cutout, which I unfortunately don't have anymore, but I will be keeping this bottle, of course. Of course, this lovely limited edition art bottle would go to waste if it was filled with anything less than an equally limited edition beer. So the brewers over at Duvel Moortgat, of which I was one at the time, decided to match the cloudy sky on the outside with a cloudy unfiltered beer on the inside. And because this is a re-fermenting beer that evolves in taste, I decided to not review it immediately when it came out in July of 2023 like most beer geeks and reviewers, but to leave it in the cellar for close to a year and have it now on a festive occasion. Now, you may have noticed that I'm not drinking this from the classic Duvel glass, except for the shape, of course. I have a custom one. This too is a limited edition, and even though I'm not a Duvel collector, I really wanted this one because this is the Duvel Morrison, a glass designed by the ever-talented Morrison Schiefmacher, daughter of one of my favorite tattoo artists of all time, Henk Schiefmacher in Amsterdam, and a fantastic tattoo artist in her own right, and an artist all round. So I love this old school tattoo design. Now, after this long history lecture, I got all thirsty and, as always, curious. So let's crack this baby open and find out how it aged. Okay, first things first, the look. Well, this is everything that we expect from a Duvel. It is golden blonde, it has a lot of foam, a nice head of foam that is slightly off-white. It has a golden color with a shit ton of carbon dioxide, and it is rather clear for an unfiltered beer, but that is simply because the bottle has been standing upright for quite a while before starting to record. I can assure you this is unfiltered, and somewhere here is a lot of yeast, but you will notice that in my second pour, which I might even do on camera. Now, when it comes to the scent, yeah, this smells just like a Duvel, of course, but it smells a bit more bitter and a bit more full, a bit more lively, slightly more herbal, and that might, of course, be because of the yeast that is still in there. So, let's go over to the tasting. Yeah, first off, that carbon dioxide content is always higher in a Duvel than in any other beer. It takes some getting used to, but that is, of course, a matter of preferences. Now, I do like that, and first thing that I notice in this beer, compared to a regular Duvel or in general, is it is a bit more bitter and it is a bit more rounded. Now, of course, this is a very crisp, a very bitter, a very dry beer, and especially after aging it for a year, it got even drier. But this really holds yeah, a lot of hops, and that yeasty aftertaste is absolutely beautiful. This is a Duvel the way that I like to drink it when I worked back at the brewery, and by that I mean straight from the tank, so before filtration, an unfiltered Duvel, just after maturation, just after the fermentation and the lagering. Absolutely lovely, and I think many people, many beer professionals, but also many employees of Duvel agree with me. So I was very happy to hear that we were gonna sell this to the public. Now, I will link to my original Duvel review, first off for comparison, but also for one tiny pity reason, and you will see in the comments that someone called me out on the way that I pour my Duvel. He even said that I wouldn't be allowed in the brewery if I poured it like that, or something in that manner. But yeah, I am one of those people that actually pours the beer, waltzes it around, and pours in the yeast as well. I don't do that with every beer. I will never do that with an Orval, for example, but with a Duvel I absolutely like it. It makes the beer a bit more hazy, a bit more bitter, a bit more well-rounded. So why the frick not? And in this beer, that already has all that in stock. So yeah, again, more reason to like this. Now, talking about yeast, let's see if we can get some of that unfiltered goodness. And that is quite a bit hazier. My God, what is wrong with my caps? Or is it just the shape of the bottle? Oh, it is my cap. So this is a bit hazier, a bit more active as well. And every bit just as good. Yeah, I'd say just let's go over to the scoring. I already love a classic Duvel, and I like the way that this is made. The fact that it's unfiltered leaves in more taste for me and makes it way softer, gives it a better mouthfeel. So for me personally, I would call this a 4 out of 5, maybe a 4.25, but I'd probably go for a 4. And if you guys can get your hands on one, yeah, just grab it. It's a beautiful bottle. It is a lovely beer. I can only recommend this. That all being said, if you guys like this video, hit that thumbs up, let me know down in the comments. If you have any questions, remarks, whatever, let me know. As usual, if you want to see more, subscribe and hit that bell icon. You will get notified whenever I upload something, and that should be every Saturday and Sunday at 8 p.m. Belgian time, of course. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one, which should be next Saturday. Cheers.